Well, the NBA has done it, guys. Reported by Adrian Wojnarowski as well as Bleacher Report and many other outlets. In the news media for today, each of the 22 teams will play 8 regular season games in Orlando for seeding purposes for the playoffs. Sources do tell ESPN. So as we discussed before, and we've heard kind of ramblings in the air, that it could be in Las Vegas, Orlando. They were deciding just to jump into the regular season with a couple games, deciding jumping into the playoffs. A lot of uncertainty was in the air, but we do have an appropriate timeline and time frame as well as a real direction. So the NBA's Board of Governors has a 12:30 p.m. meeting called on Thursday with the intention of approving the league's plan for 22 return to play in Orlando. This is, again, ESPN sources. And within this, so there's going to be the 16 current playoff teams that will be in Orlando from the East and the West, 8 and 8. Now, with the Eastern Conference, there's actually a 9th team that would actually jump on board, which will be the Washington Wizards. And Washington has around like 6 games or maybe even more to where they can possibly get the 8th seed. Besides that, from the Eastern Conference, no other team is reaching the 8th seed. Back on the Western Conference side of things, there's going to be more bubble teams such as the Pelicans, the Blazers, the Suns, Kings, and the Spurs in the Western Conference. And so those would be the teams that will be joining the 16 current playoff teams. So you're going to have around 22 teams total. You're going to have the 8 teams to where they're eliminated from the playoffs or they have no chance of reaching it. No matter if these last 10 games, they're not going to make it. So they're going to be done with. So if the 9th seed is more than 4 games behind the 8th, then number 8 makes the playoffs. And then there's going to be fewer than 4 games. They're actually talking about having a play-in tournament to make the 8th seed whenever it comes to this within here. So overall, the NBA is inviting 22 teams to Orlando, 13 Western Conference teams, 9 Eastern Conference, 8 regular season games per team, playing for the 8 seeds. And they have a time frame to where this will be from July 31st until October 12th. And then now we can see, guys, the NBA is back. They just need to get the board of governors here to where they can get everything agreed upon. So any safety hazards with COVID-19 looks like that's kind of decimating in this process when it comes to that. Let's see if there's any more information. So overall, we have the 22 teams. Looks like at the very end of July, we're going to start the regular season with a couple games to get everything finished off and squared. So overall, the NBA is proposing the 22 format to resume the season. And again, they're going to include a play-in tournament for the number 8 seed. So this is going to be pretty exciting. You know, this is something to where sports have been down for the last 3 months or so in this day and age. And with the NBA taking precautions, they've been getting to work the last couple of months discussing alternatives. It looks like they finally have stuff logistically for a timetable as well as a location, the teams, how it's going to work out. So this is exciting, guys. Now we're going to see these teams. It's been 3 months since they played basketball. They're going to get a couple games, get off the rust to go away. And now they can prepare themselves for the NBA playoffs. I do expect in the Western Conference to where pretty much it's going to be the same 8 teams. The only team to where maybe they could lose out are going to be the Memphis Grizzlies. They are young with Ja Morant. I don't know if they were on a really good momentum during this regular season, but you may have some more motivated teams now, like the Pelicans. I think the Blazers are too far behind. They won't be able to get it. But I think the Pelicans are going to fight for that 8th seed, and they're going to be energetic with Zion. So I don't know. Maybe they'll get the 8th seed. We'll see how that figures out. But the Western Conference is pretty much looking the same. We may see a couple seedings change with the Nuggets or the Clippers. Hopefully the Lakers can keep the top seed and get everything intact. But guys, we got to remember, there's not going to be pretty much home court anymore. Everyone's going to be in Orlando. There's not going to be any fans. So this is a way to the NBA has to get creative to, if you're a higher seed and if you're going to have quote-unquote home court in the playoffs, how's that going to work? Are you going to be able to, make different sound speakers to where it's more involved, like it's, they're chanting "Go Lakers" or LeBron, something like that with technology? Or is it something to where they make changes in the game? Like they were discussing earlier in the news about possibly having rumors of more coaches challenge calls for the home team or maybe even if it's 7 fouls for your best player, then they're out. I don't agree with any in-game changes. This is something they have to find more on the marketing technology side. Still paint the home court like the Lakers if they were, in the first round, with a different design. Something working along those lines. That's something for the Lakers and the NBA. They can get that job done with. But in the Eastern Conference, the Wizards are not going to make the playoffs. They're too far behind, away from the 8th seed, which currently right now is the Orlando Magic. So pretty much I expect the same teams to be in the playoffs right now. It's just going to determine on seeding, since there's going to be 8 to 10 last games. Very exciting to finally get into the playoffs. A bunch of these teams do have a lot of rest, and everything in their mindset has changed to where, with all this rest, they only have 2 months to play basketball. So guys, we can probably see a lot of upsets in the playoffs. I would probably expect maybe like one upset. I can't really think, depending on the seeding as of right now, but this is actually a very good challenge and see in this controversial time period how these teams actually do react if they stayed in game shape. Same thing mental-wise, how they'd be able to react to win a championship in 2-month period. I still have the Lakers still as the favorites. I'm very excited how the NBA is finally back, and now we got everything going on within here. So any new updates coming out in the past couple of weeks, I will be letting you guys know, giving my take on this. But besides that, guys, NBA is back.